Welcome to the library's tutorial on finding psychology articles. To find psychology articles, we're going to go to the library's homepage, which is rolfing.tiu.edu, and then we're going to click on the Articles tab. And then over on the right under Frequently Used Databases, we see a link for PsycInfo, so we'll click there. From on campus, you'd go directly into the database. From off campus, you'll need to log in using the same login you would use for Moodle or MyTrinity, or your Trinity email address. So we'll click on that, we'll log in, and then it will be just like we were on campus. So now we're into the PsycInfo database, and of course PsycInfo is our primary psychology database. And it's going to give us not just journal articles, but chapters of books as well. There are some books in here, but primarily we're looking for just journal articles and book chapters specifically. So we're going to just begin our search with just a general anxiety search. So we have a general idea what we want to do, but we don't really know how to find it in the database. But we know it's on kind of anxiety. So we're going to click on search. And we see that there is a very large number, 138,000 plus records in the database for anxiety. So this is obviously way more than we could possibly deal with. So we're going to think about how we could narrow our search down. And over here on the left, we see ways that we can refine our results here. And the first one is, we notice that the publication date goes back to 1656. So we're not really interested in going back to 1656. So we're going to say maybe just the last 10 years. So we're going to change publication date from 2002 to 2012 and update that. And that cuts our number down by roughly half or so. So we've got just the last 10 years. The other thing that we could do would be to say, just give me peer-reviewed references. So we're going to update that. And that takes us down considerably as well. And then we could come further down and we see that there are all journals, peer-reviewed journals, but we already checked the peer-reviewed, so we'll just leave that one alone. And then we look at major subject headings, and we see anxiety, anxiety disorders, but we also want to check the show more, and we see that actually the one that we're most interested in, generalized anxiety disorder, is an option, so we're going to pick that one and update. And that takes us down to an even lower number. So again, 792 is still more than I really want, and it's still probably too broad a thing. So we're going to think about how we could do it. Subject, it would be just like the subject heading, so we'll ignore that. Publication, specific journals, but again, we're going to kind of just ignore that one. Age, maybe that one is something we should consider. So let's look at young adulthood. So we'll pick that one and update that. And that takes us down to 230. And then we're going to think about maybe we want just general anxiety among young adults who are also female. So we're going to update that one as well. And now we're down to 211, which is a much more manageable number. So having done that, now we can come over and begin to look at what we're actually finding here. So here it says a community study of generalized anxiety disorder. So this is actually the title of what it shows us to be a journal article. So we look at that one, and here's the title, what it's about, and then these are the authors. Journal of Anxiety Disorders is the source, and then the volume number, issue number, the year, month, and the pages that would be found in that particular journal. And then we could look further down and we see the same sort of thing. This is also from Journal of Anxiety Disorders, and a lot of these are, which is not surprising because the whole journal devoted to anxiety disorders. So these are all following kind of the same pattern. Now, if we want to know, do we have this particular journal in our library, we could click on the Find It button. And then that shows us that, in fact, we didn't find it in our library. So this is not a journal that Trinity subscribes to in print or has available online. So if we wanted this particular article, we could still request it through Interlibrary Loan. And we click on the title of that article. And then over on the left, it says Request Article via Interlibrary Loan. So we click there. And then it pops up this little request page. And then here you would just fill in the ones that have the red asterisk, your name, your ID number, your Trinity email, and please do use your Trinity email because that's how we're going to send the article to you. And then all these things, and cost not to exceed, there you can just put in 0 because we're not going to charge you for these articles. And then down here it's filled in about the article for you, where it's from, the title, etc. And then you would just click on submit. And then we will get a copy of that from another library through email, and then we'll email it to you. And again, we won't charge you anything for that. So let's go back to our result list here. And now let's think about how we could make a list of these, of the ones of these 211 that we're really interested in. So all of these have a little add to folder link here in them, and then the folder link is going to put them in this little folder up here at the top. So as we work through our list, the ones that we're interested in, we click on the add to folder, and then over here it says folder has item, and it shows us the one that we put in. And then up here we see the folder is changed to a little sheet of paper sticking out of it now. So we would go through the list here and just pick all the ones that interest us. And this one, while we're here, we notice that it's available in HTML full text and PDF full text. So we'll come back to that and show you how you can look at those. But again, we just go through and mark the ones we're interested in. Having done that now and worked through the whole list, we could click on either here, go to folder view, or we could click on here, the folder. And this shows us the 3 articles that we put in here. So if we wanted to, we click the select all button. And then there are options here. We could print them. Primarily, though, what we'd be interested in doing is emailing them. So we click on email. And then here that shows us the email address is coming from. We just put in whatever email address we want in this case. Put in a subject so we recognize it when it comes into our email. And then here it tells us that it's going to include the HTML full text or the PDF when it's available. And if we wanted to, we could say also just send it to us in APA format. So then it would be the reference where you could copy and paste that into your reference list if you wanted. And then you would click on send, and the EBSCO will send you those articles to your email address. But now let's go back because I'm really not interested in sending those to myself. So again, we're going to go back. And now we're back to our result list. And now let's look at the full text here. Some articles have either HTML full text or PDF full text. So the PDF has the benefit of having page numbers, etc., like the original. So if that's available, we will prefer that one. So we click on PDF full text. And then that pulls up the obviously full text of the articles, all 10 pages here. And then we could either print that or save that to our computer somewhere. But the whole article is there now for us, and we could use that. So let's go back to our result list. And now I want to think about how we could have done a lot of these same limiters that we did over here when we first came into the database. So we're going to go back to the advanced search, the screen that we came into originally, where we just typed in anxiety. So here we're going to change anxiety, say we're going to go to subjects. And even though ultimately we want to end up with generalized anxiety disorder, we'll start with it in the subjects. And then down here, we could say publication year. We could go 2002 to 2012. If we wanted to, we could do the peer-reviewed box here. We could say, just give me things in English. Age group again, we're interested in kind of young adults, so we'll pick that one. Population group over here. Female was what we were ultimately interested in, so we checked that one. And then down here, we're going to say document type. I'm going to want chapters of books we're interested in. And then we hold down the control key. We also pick journal article. So now in our list, we've got highlighted both chapters and journal articles. And then if I wanted to, I could say, just give me things that are either full text in the database or in paper print in our library or in JSTOR, which is a collection of online articles there. Now, having done that, limited those three there, we're probably going to lose our book chapters. But we're going to go ahead and do that, and then I'll come back and show you how we look specifically for book chapters and what those look like in the database. So again, we start with a fairly large number, but not as large as if we just started with the general search for anxiety. So again, if we go through our list, we're going to see that all these are journal articles. And these are all either PDF full text or HTML full text. Or in this case, there's no full text option. But if we click on Find It, we'll see that we actually have this journal, though it's not full text in the database. We have it in paper, which is what here the periodical collection is. And we also have it online as well. So we click there, and we see that it's actually in Academic Search Premier or the Professional Development Collection. So we could go out there and find the article if it falls within these years here and is not just in the last 6 months. So that one we have access to, even though we don't see it specifically full text in the database. So it's a good idea to check the Find It button, even if you don't see the full text link there in the database. We may still have it online, or we may have it in paper in our library. So let's now go back to our advanced search, because I want to show you how book chapters look. So we're going to do our anxiety again. And again, we could do all the same thing, year, English, etc. But I'm not going to bother with that, because really what I just want to show you here is what chapters look like. So we're just going to click chapters under document type, and then we're going to search on that. So now we see a list of 4,100 plus, and now rather than see journal article, we see the bracketed word chapter in bold. So here is the title of the chapter, and this is the author, Amy Wenzel, and then N colon tells us the title of the book, Anxiety in Childbearing Women, Diagnosis and Treatment, and then the publisher, Washington, D.C., and then APA is the publisher, the year, and the pages in that particular chapter. Now, if we clicked on Find It, that would also tell us whether we have that book in our library, and we don't. And then we click the all iShare libraries to see if maybe another iShare library has it, and we see that in fact they don't. And probably the book is just too new to have been picked by any iShare libraries at this point. So, and a lot of these may well be the same thing because they're all very recent, because the PsycInfo puts the most current ones up at the top. But we could go a few pages into our list here, and then we could think about here's this one. We click on Find It. And again, we don't have it in our library, but now let's check the all iShare libraries and see if there's one. And in fact, we do see that one, which is a textbook of anxiety disorders. So we could click on that. And then we see down here, there are a number of libraries that have it. And then if we wanted to, we could request this item. And then it says, please log in. So we click on that. And then it brings up your iShare login. If you don't have one, you'd have to create a username and password specific to iShare. It's not your Trinity GroupWise login like we used before, but one that you specifically have to create. And if you click on Create Username and Password, then you come into this form here, and you just fill in all this stuff. The barcode number, your bar ID, is really just your 6-digit Trinity ID number. So if we go back to the login screen here and log in, and then the password that you picked when you created your iShare account, and then log in. And then we're going to continue here. And now we're going to go back to our thing here and find this particular article, or this particular book title, that is, and look at our search here as title and find out. And then we see the book that we were looking for here. So we click on that. And again, there's one down here, the governor's state one, which is the one we started with initially. We could request this item here. It tells us that it is requestable. Some items in iShare are not. And then we choose pickup location. And then assuming that we want it to come here, then we just leave that here and then request. And then Governor's State will actually send that library to our library. We'll send you an email, let you know it's here. You just check it out here at the circulation desk, give it back to us when you're done, and we send it back. And again, these come in just a few days to a week, and again, there's no charge for that. So I'm going to log out and close the iShare thing. So again, you can click on Find It to see if we have it in our library, or if not, then we can request it in from another iShare library. So let's see, a lot of these textbooks we wouldn't have, but they all work just the same. So journal articles and chapters of books are primarily what you're going to be finding in the PsycInfo database. So we hope that you have benefited from this. If you have any questions, feel free to contact us directly at the library's homepage. Up here is Help. And then down here, there's Ask a Librarian. And in this case, this librarian that's been walking you through this is me, Kevin Compton, whose actual title is Theological Librarian, but I also handle the psychology and the counseling departments. So feel free to email me or call me if you have a question, or you can also just email the reference desk or call the reference desk during our hours, or chat when we're online in our little chat box over here on the right. So I also want to point out to you off the library's homepage under Services, no, actually under Subjects, sorry. We're going to go down here to Psychology, and we're going to see that major resources for you are PsycInfo, which is what we've been using, TrendCat to find books in our library, iShare for other libraries, and then article databases. These are going to be databases that we would suggest might help you in addition to PsycInfo. PsycArticles is just full text articles, but all these articles are linked into the PsycInfo database, so there's no reason really necessarily to search PsycArticles separately. ERIC is an education database and may help you a little bit. ATLA is a religion database, may help you. Academic Search Premier is just a very good multidisciplinary database, but has a lot of psychology things in there as well. The thing about this one is, if the article is also in PsycInfo, then it will link to the Academic Search Premier full text article. And then the Power Search, which is where you can search simultaneously all of our EBSCOhost databases. So that's in the databases thing there. And if we come back to our guide here, encyclopedias, dictionaries, these are going to be things in our reference collection that may help you, the APA Dictionary of Psychology or Elsevier's Dictionary, etc. So these are going to be things that are actually in print in our library that you could come into the library and use. And then there are other things here as well. Library map and call numbers, like where you would find different things for psychology and call numbers, etc. So those are in there. So the psychology guide, and again, has me and ways to contact me. So all these things that might help you in your psychology paper are all here under Subjects and then under Psychology. So that concludes our tutorial on finding psychology articles, and we hope that you've been helped by it, and feel free to contact us for further help or information. Thank you. Have a good day. Bye.